Hey everyone, welcome to the new Slang podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Thomas Mooney, the editor-in-chief of New Slang here in Lubbock. This week's episode is with Shane Smith, the incredibly talented Texas singer-songwriter. Him and his band, The Saints, have they're just a few months removed from releasing their second album called Geronimo. That's what this interview is primarily about the making of that record, the songs that are on it, and the evolution of Shane as a songwriter, what he was seeking in these songs, if you will. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna get on to the interview in about a few minutes, but first, this episode is being brought to you by the Blue Light Live here in Lubbock. If you're wondering what you should be doing this coming weekend, here are some great choices for you. Thursday is going to be Blue Water Highway Band. Friday, that'll be the first album release show for Flatline Cavalry's Humble Folks. If you go over to New Slang right now, you can go and stream the record for the next few days. After that, it'll be taken down, obviously, and you can go and buy the record either at the show on Friday, or if you're, for whatever reason, 500 miles away from Lubbock, for example, you can go over to Lone Star Music and pre-order the record, and they'll send it over to you. Caitlin Butts, she'll be opening the show. She's also on the record, so I'm sure they'll be doing that duet live that night as well. And then on Saturday night, Jonathan Tyler will be playing his brand of cosmic country up at the Blue Light. We'll be going over and picking him up and recording a future episode of the podcast. So we're very excited about all that. For the rest of the Blue Light schedule, you can go over to their official website. That's at thebluelightlive.com. Once there, you'll be able to see the rest of their schedule. They're always updating it with new shows, and you'll be able to pre-order tickets for whatever shows they have that have pre-sale tickets available. One of those shows is going to be April 15th. That's the William Clark Green Street Show Party. Like last year, he released Ringling Road, and that was the first show. Was this big street show at Blue Light where they shut down Buddy Holly and all that kind of stuff. And so this year he's making it into an annual event, if you will. Joining him this year is going to be American Aquarium, Red Shahan, and Flatline Cavalry. So that's just 2 weeks away. So you'll want to make sure you have tickets for that. So again, thebluelightlive.com. Okay, now on to the Shane Smith conversation. So I guess for Blue Light show, you guys are down in Alpine, right?
That's right. Yeah.
What are those shows that are like on the edge of the map, if you will? How are those shows? Are they different than shows that are, I guess, more populated areas?
Yeah, for sure. I think those shows always tend to have more character to them. Whether they want to or not. It's kind of just the way it is. The bars and those type of places are usually, for like in Alpine's case, it was Railroad Blues was the name of that bar. And you could tell it's been around for a long time, and the lady that's running it, I think she's been running it for a long time. She's real cool, and all the local people haven't really heard of us out there. That was our first time ever playing out there, and so that's exciting as well, going out to a new place, and it's kind of like, sparks a fire under you to try to really, give them a good show and try to win them over. Or at least that's how it is for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Did you have the sangria at Railroad?
I didn't. I did not, and I don't even know about it. Is that like
yeah,
like the thing?
As far as like what I've known, yeah. I mean, it may be different now.
Charlie Stout knows that place like the back of his hand, from what I've understood. And so if there's sangria to be had, I'm sure Charlie Stout has drank it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are, I guess, in other areas of the country, what are the frontier places that you guys have played in?
One that comes to mind is in Stanley, Idaho. We just played our second show out there about 4 weeks ago. We were just there, and it's really cool developing a small fan base in an area like that that's so far away, and it's just in the middle of nowhere. Even in Idaho, it's just a small town. And I think all the Braun brothers were originally from that town. And the first time we went was in July, on like July 4th weekend. We played a little festival that the town had out there with Chris Knight and Dirty River Boys, and had a really good time. And when we just went in January, at the end of January, it was like there was blizzards. It was like just crazy how cold it is up in that part of the country, and so it made for just an insane driving situation getting up there and coming back down. But once we were there, you could see that all those same people that were there the first time had come out and gotten their tickets, and they had brought their friends, and you're shaking hands with these people, and they're like really big fans, and just like they know the words, and they're asking you questions about the lyrics and the writing, and it's just a really cool thing. I think that's my favorite part about all of this is the relationships that I get to make on the road and maintain on the road. And as a musician, you got a choice. You can either, accept the fact that, your fate is dependent on these people that are supporting you and coming to these shows and doing interviews with you, everything. Mm-hmm. And you either understand that and you enjoy that, and you take advantage of getting to make those relationships and just have a good time with it, or else you can be the guy that sits in the bus, right until showtime and then just avoids everybody. Mm-hmm. But it's my favorite part about the whole thing. I think a lot of people would agree that on 9 out of 10 shows, I'm going to be at the merch booth selling merch after the show, and I'm going to be shaking hands with everybody and saying what's up to everybody afterwards. And that's my chance to get to catch up with these fans that have supported me for years, and it's no different in Stanley, Idaho, in those small little towns, and it's more fun for me because it's a brand new thing. It's a brand new fan base, and it's brand new relationships, brand new people to get to know, and have a good excuse to come back out there to mm-hmm. put on a show for them.
Yeah. So last night, sold out show. I've said this about you guys last time you were here. It's you guys are on that, I guess that level of show here in at Blue Light that a few bands have had, like Turnpike and Jonathan Tyler, have just had these massively incredible, crazy shows. You guys are on that level now as one of those bands. I'm assuming like that's not every place in Texas though for you guys. Do you guys still have those like pockets of where, for every amazing, incredible, badass show, is there like also the polar opposite where you're still like nobody gets you guys yet?
I would say there are the shows where there's hardly anybody at, obviously. In some towns, I mean, we're still a young band, just still getting our feet wet with this whole thing. And we have been touring for like 3 or 4 years at it, but it's not like we've been doing it for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of those shows where not many people are at. It's not often though that everyone's just like dead, like not into it, not like enjoying it. There's mm-hmm. something. My goal with all of this is to have something for no matter what music you're into or what your taste is or whatever. You can at least walk away from the show with a respect for what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. We're not like cheeseballing it up with like lyrics that don't mean anything to anybody that are just catchy or whatever. We're not trying to, do stuff that's flashy or trying to show out at our shows,
Pandering.
at our live shows, you know, and I want it to be an honest thing with the lyrics, an honest thing with the music. I want it to be cool, as different as we can be, and just be nice guys. And hopefully at the end of the day, you can't really say much bad about us as a result of that. And like we just played our first show in Louisiana not too long ago, and there's hardly anybody there, but these high school kids that come out from like Beaumont and from these like Louisiana high schools, and had like, they were calling all their friends because I guess they were like fans of ours. They probably had a burnt CD with a couple songs on it in their truck, and they came out, and that was it's like that's what it's about right there, because I remember doing that exact same thing when I was their age, and being one of a handful of people coming out to someone's show that now is a successful artist, you know, and I really enjoy that whole aspect of it, and while there are the shows like you were saying where there's not many people there, there's not typically a show where people are just like sitting there like, all right, when's this over, you know, just kind of, they might sit there and be real quiet and not be crazy, and they might be listening really intently, and then after the show we'll have a long conversation with them, and they're like, man, I've never heard of y'all, but that was different, that was interesting, you know. So and we'll have people come to our shows that are bikers, we'll have people come to our shows that are like full-on fraternities, full-on sororities. We'll have people come to our show that are like doctors and lawyers and older successful people. We'll have people that are hipsters. We'll have people that are absolute hippie as it comes in dreads showing up, you know, and that's our goal with all this, is just to be a big melting pot of a fan base of different types of people that are respected.
Yeah, like y'all's sound is it is different for what's going on in Texas. I mean, I do think like the roots music, the roots rock, if you will, is an uptick in Texas music. But you guys are like the if you guys were like a TV show, you guys are like Deadwood, you know. You guys have that sound, that Appalachia. We've talked about this whole like frontier music thing before. Like as far as, I guess, like all those different bands and songwriters who have influenced you, who's that one guy who like none of us, as far as people in radio or in journalism, that we're just like missing on, like that we don't ever mention? Who's that one or two bands that we've
I think nobody gives Adam Carroll the credit that he deserves, which maybe he doesn't want the credit. I mean, there's a good chance that Adam Carroll, I don't even know Adam Carroll. I've met him like twice, but from the times I met him, it didn't seem like he was really necessarily wanting to promote anything that he had to put out, or, you know, I don't think he was in a hurry to try to get to the top of any ladder or anything. I think he's doing it because he loves music, he loves songwriting, he loves lyrics, and I think he's making a good living at it. But you never hear anybody singing his praises very often, and he's one of the best lyricists that I think is around in our scene. And when I say our scene, I mean just in the state of Texas in general, as songwriters are concerned. And I think in that songwriting world, like with the Terry Hendricks and the, you know, you get Gerf Morlicks and Slade Cleaves, and in that scene, the like songwriter scene, I think Adam's a very big name.
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily say that I can't say that he's like not getting any credit at all, but I just, in general, I don't think anyone in our scene really pays attention to him, and I think his lyrics are just unreal. I know Charlie Stout, you know, loves the dude to death. Charlie Stout was very similar to Adams, and that's a good style to have, I think.
Yeah. I guess there really is kind of like, even though it's Texas music, there is two circles. That songwriter circle that you're kind of saying, and then like the, you know, more the, you know, college kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, there's a couple. I mean, there's the songwriting, Texas songwriters thing, and then you have the Texas country that is, kind of the scene that we're playing in very often. And then there's also the scene with the bands that it's mainly only in Austin though where I've really picked up on it, and some in Dallas. And I think the bigger cities have those little niche followings, but bands like Nikki Lane and it's kind of it's like old school country, but it's like talking about drugs and stuff like that. And it's kind of the Sturgill Simpson wave,
like the Robert Ellis.
Now that
kind of stuff, yeah,
exactly. Robert Ellis is a great example, and there's a lot of bands in Austin that I think like are working really hard to try to come up in that whole scene as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's great. I mean, everything. In my opinion, I think we're not trying to mold into any particular scene. I would love to go play on a festival with all the Nikki Lanes and the Robert Ellis and Sturgill and that whole crew, just as much as I would want to go play on a lineup with Turnpike and some of those guys, and I hope that at the end of the day we can just kind of be that hybrid band that just kind of plays in all of it and just can hop around to different stuff like that.
Yeah, I think y'all sound is very. You guys can do that.
Yeah, I hope
sound
so.
like it. Obviously, the fiddle, I think has a lot to do with that. You guys can play stuff that is more roots based, which obviously that's a whole lot of the stuff you guys do. But like college kids really love that too, even though they may be, mainly listening to, I don't know, like Josh Abbott and Randy Rogers and more of the quote unquote singer-songwriter Texas country guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I think y'all sound goes well with both.
Yeah, well,
it's,
I hope so. And they're the songs that are more kind of Texas country sounding, especially on our first album, Coast. There's a lot more of those type of songs on it. And on this last one, I think it's way more in the AAA Americana type of realm. Mm-hmm. And moving forward, I think it'll probably be a lot like that. I think there'll be songs similar to Coast and similar to Feather in the Wind and those type of tunes, but I think during that phase of recording Coast, I was still at a period like really trying to find my sound for writing and find our sound as a band and all of that stuff. And I think we're finally starting to develop a sound that's a little bit more unique and a little bit more kind of outside of the norm, and I think on our next record we'll probably continue to do songs like that.
Yeah. Okay, like the song "The Mountain."
Mm-hmm.
Is that like straight up like Lord of the Rings influenced?
No, it's that's funny though. I do like the.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was
yeah.
like, this is like The Hobbit.
Right, exactly. I could totally see that. No, well, it's actually it's kind of a true story. It's about a town called Centralia, Pennsylvania, that a coal mine caught fire underground in Centralia, and you can't really put out a coal mine when it's lit underground. And so now it's a ghost town that everybody had to evacuate eventually. I think they tried to live there for a long time, but it's just when smoke's coming up from under the ground 24 hours a day, and it's hot as hell. Just you can't keep going, and so they had to evacuate, and it's still burning today underground. But a friend of mine that's from Pennsylvania has ancestors that worked the coal mines, and one of them actually died in a coal mine in a shaft. And he was explaining to me kind of how that way of life worked back then and how rough it was, you know, when it talks about like they wrapped his body on the porch, like that's the case for his ancestors. Like I guess they would, if you died, they would wrap up your body. They would take your body to the porch, wrap it up in cloths or whatever, and leave you there for your family to find you when they got home. And I don't think there was like any kind of a ceremony or anything like that. It was just like, yeah, he died today. I'm sorry, you know,
Yeah.
best of luck or whatever. And it's just like what it was. And so the story is fiction, obviously, in that it's talking about a boy who lost his father in the mine, and to get revenge of the mine, he lights it on fire, being the dragon, the mouth of the dragon, you know, the smoke coming out of the mouth of the dragon, being the foreshadowing for that burning mine by the end of the story. It's a short song, but you know, it's kind of cool. The idea of it is interesting. And I took a lot of stuff that was true based off of the Centralia, Pennsylvania story, and off of my buddy's ancestor that died in the coal mines, and try to put something together that made sense, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The song "Whiskey and Water" on the record, I think that's probably my favorite song on the album. In that song, you know, you mentioned you found the American dream, and I guess you kind of talk a little bit about, I guess not necessarily the dark side of success, but like kind of maybe losing yourself in what success is, whatever you're calling success, and I guess trying to stay grounded.
Right.
I'm like, what has there been moments of you guys needing to find success? Or I mean, I guess like finding your ground.
I think.
Have you had any rock and roll moments?
No, I mean I'm a fortunate dude in the fact that I've got two older brothers that keep me really grounded at all times, and they always have from the day I was born. And my wife keeps me extremely grounded as well. You can ask the guys; she's pretty tough on me, and it's not something that I was necessarily writing that based off of, you know, mistakes that I've made or temptations that I've fallen into necessarily, but it's more of a song that I think a lot of musicians can relate to, whether it's me or whoever. There is temptation on the road. There is a lot of dark sides to the road, and the whole night-to-night lifestyle, and living away from home and living in hotels and stuff like that. And it talks about the American dream just because I think there's so much opportunity in the country that we live in, and this is kind of like our American dream. You know, we're trying to pursue something that was nothing, that we've started from the ground, and we're starting to see some kind of return finally. And it talks about, there's a lot of movement to the song where it's kind of like talking about, you know, driving through the night. We always drive through the night, and it just discusses a lot of that stuff that makes it a tough lifestyle. But it's always that underlying principle of, you know, like, when it comes to temptation, if you are the type of person that's fallen into it, you better hope that you can remember how to get back to the ground level, you know, and don't ever let it go too far, because there are the people, even in our scene, that everyone kind of knows, you know, the way they are, and I'm sure that song might hit them pretty hard hearing the lyrics to it, you know, and maybe it won't, You know, maybe that, you know, they might be a little bit too far gone or something. But in my personal opinion, if I ever were to fall into temptation on the road, if I were to ever, you know, stoop to a low of, like, you know, cheating on my wife or something like that, like, I better know how to pray and how to come up from that and get my life together. But fortunately, I have not not ever you know, not ever fallen into that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's always like, you know,
I don't think I can live with myself. You know, just the sole fact that she's given up so much for me to even be able to pursue this type of a lifestyle,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that, you know, she works at 9 to 5 and I'm on weekends, and we have polar opposite schedules, and we're both sacrificing so much. All the guys, you know, are all sacrificing so much to try to make this work that yeah, I would just go crazy,
Mm-hmm.
kill myself probably if I ever, you know, screwed anybody over on that kind of a level.
Yeah. What's been like your favorite word that you've used in a song?
Favorite word?
Yeah,
I never
like,
thought of that.
like,
I probably
you know,
have
you're
habits that I don't even realize, though, where I say like particular words way too
Mm-hmm.
often.
Is there anything that you're like super proud of? Like, yeah, I was able to fit in this word.
Let me think here. I said, in Runaway Train, I mentioned a fishing net. There was a lot of syllables in that line. I was fitting a lot of words, and fishing net was one of the, or two of the words that were used in that. That's kind of random. At one song, an old song that I'd written, I managed to fit the word Czechoslovakian. That was pretty outrageous, but it was, you know, it was a really slow song, so it wasn't too much of a sprint to get those syllables out.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the record, Czechoslovakian. I don't think that can get topped out of my catalog.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's probably the winner.
Yep. I would have to agree.
The only way that's gonna be topped if that's like the last word, and so you had like something to rhyme with that.
Right.
That's the only.
Then, and like have like a pause, like a really delayed pause, and then rhyme it with something else, and then just blow everyone's mind. You know, that would be pretty clever. I'll think about that for one down the road.
Yeah. This is something we talked about with John Bauman. What's that like one album that your parents took away from you? Because they were just like, you can't listen to this.
Well, when all of that was going on with my childhood, when I was growing up, there were CDs being taken from my brothers. I never had a CD, really, that I can remember that was necessarily taken from me. It was always my brothers had CDs that were getting taken from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mom took and like had, I think she like broke it in half or something and had my brother throw it away. It was the Blink-182 album, Enema of the State. And I used to listen to tons of Blink-182 and 311 and Third Eye Blind when I was probably in the 6th and 7th grade, because that's what my older brothers were listening to. And I love that music. I also, this is off topic, but the other music that I really, really enjoy is like old Motown music, like the Four Tops and the Righteous Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
Temptations, all that type of music. I think is like just hits on hits on hits on hits. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
just nonstop choruses for days, and I love that type of music. But that all came from my dad. But as far as having a record or a CD, I guess, broken in half, that's the one that rings a bell. Was my oldest brother's Blink-182 Enema of the State.
Yeah. I can't remember. I guess it was like 3 or 4 years back. Dirty Bird Boys would cover "Damn It."
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was really, really actually
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've not heard him do it in a long time, but yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love
What,
that.
what would you cover if you're gonna cover like a old pop punk?
If it were a Blink-182 song, I think it would be cool to maybe do a cover of like Adam's song. I think that's the one that I'm thinking of. It just has a ton of. It goes from one thing to another, and there's just all kinds of movement in that song if you like sit down and really analyze it and listen to it. You know, another '90s rock song that I heard the other day that I'm considering doing a cover of that is just such a good song. It was by The Offspring. The song "Heaven's So Far Away."
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like heaven's so far away. That is such an awesome chorus. I hadn't heard that song in like probably 12 years,
Yeah.
or 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a great chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't heard it in such a long time, so maybe I just think it's cooler than everyone else does.
No, like the Offspring, definitely underrated 90s punk band. I had Americana, that record.
But oh yeah,
Yeah. It was a good record.
that would be a cool cover though. Am I
Yeah.
wrong? Like do the whole harmony thing, like a 4-part harmony or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be wild. It would be very interesting. Throw a banjo in there. Why not? See what happens.
Yeah. Next
Fiddle.
show.
Then it's there, obviously. Fiddle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how that would go over. We'd work it out. But yeah. That one was fresh on my mind though from like a week ago. We were in Tulsa and after the show I was just like listening to random music, talking to friends at a buddy's house, and that song came on. I was just like, this is the best song ever. I haven't heard this in such a long time.
Yeah. What do you guys play in the band?
In the van, dude, that's such a. I can't even put a finger on that. I mean, they'll go from like. What is it, jamgrass? Like, you know, where it's pretty much just bluegrass jam and.
Thrash grass?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, Bennett listens to tons of that stuff, and all the guys listen to all that stuff. We've been listening to Chris Stapleton for like 3 years now, and or something like that. Probably like 3 years, and just waiting for him to blow up from when he was with Steel Drivers and all that stuff. We listen to a lot of him and listen to, I mean, some days it'll be 90s rock, some days it'll be, you know, Gregory Allen, Isaacoff, Pandora, you know, Deer Tick, Pandora a lot of times, if I have control of things. Just totally random.
Okay.
I might even do like Motown Pandora, like think about that, from Deer Tick to Righteous Brothers Pandora. So it's a pretty tough question to answer, honestly.
Well, okay, so Stapleton did play last night here in Lubbock.
Yeah.
What was there? Did you have like even just a little bit in your head thinking, what if Chris Stapleton shows up to the show tonight and wants to do a song or something? What would you do?
I think like 2 years ago I would have had that in my head until I realized what it was like. You know, I just when you're going at it as heavy as those guys are going at it, and bands like American Aquarium, even like just road warriors, it's tough to get out after those shows.
Yeah.
I mean, they've learned enough lessons in the amount of time and the amount of shows that they've played not to go, you know, just get trashed at a bar after the show and then have to get out at 5 and everyone's still drunk trying to drive for 7 hours to the next town.
American Aquarium by far probably has like the most discipline of any band
Yeah.
out there right now.
Well, I think that was something that probably took time to get to that point,
Mhm.
like any band.
Yeah.
I think BJ would be pretty quick to tell you that it's not always been like that.
Yeah.
I think they've definitely had their wild phase, and they got a lot of fun out of their system.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, that's a great thing. That's something that we can only hope to conquer one day.
Yeah.
To have the fun out of our system so that we're somewhat close to being adults.
Yeah. Well, all right, we're coming in on about 32 minutes here, 35.
Oh,
Want to do
yeah.
a song?
Yeah, we'll do a song.
All right. Well, let's do a song then.
Put the mic on it. Okay, one last thing before we get over to Shane Smith doing Whiskey and Water. This episode is also sponsored by Dalton Domino's Drinko Music Fest, happening on Tuesday, May 10th at the Blue Light. Last year, Dalton released his debut album, 1806, and that was like on May 5th, and it was a Tuesday. And so in typical Dalton fashion, what he did about a week before the release was like, I don't want it to just be a CD release show. I want it to be a CD release show in which all my friends and as many my favorite bands as possible can play. So that's what he kind of did. He got about a dozen bands or so to open up the CD release show, and it was an all day event. He had like piñatas that he was breaking open, and I don't know. There was a lot of just stuff. So fast forward a year, he's throwing another Drinko party at the Blue Light, and this year, he's, I guess, if you have a year to work on something, you're able to, I guess, make it a little bit more organized and get bigger names and all that kind of stuff. So this year, Sam Riggs, Shane Smith and the Saints, Statesboro Review, Dolly Shine, Parker McCollum, John Bauman, Larry Joe Taylor, Prophets and Outlaws, Brandon Stedman, Cody Bryan Band, No Dry County, Caitlin Butts, John Young, Charlie Stout, Hunter Hutchinson, Austin Meade, Randall King, Cole Wetzel, Grant Gilbert, Zach Stokes, Chris Brazil, the Gibsons, Zoe Carter, and yes, Dalton Domino will be all playing that night. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now, they have already sold out of the VIP tickets. There's only like 50 of them available. So what you're going to want to do is get to Lubbock early that day and wait in line. If you get there early enough, you'll get in. But I guarantee you it's going to be a sold out kind of affair. For more information on the entire damn thing, you can go to drinkomusicfest.com. Okay, now on to Shane Smith playing Whiskey and Water.
Good?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Cool. We'll do Whiskey and Water, just because you said you're a fan of that one. American dream, it's real, it's something I've seen. It all began as a no-name band with a fiddle and rock and roll and cigarette smoke. She's the devil, but she's someone I know. She whispers to me through the laughter, and every now and then I just give in. Whiskey and water. girls without fathers, a headache tomorrow, a Hail Mary to make me feel sane. What happens, dear mother, the day I forget how to pray? How to pray. And we shot the arrows, we chased them down like old vaqueros. We drove through the night in the darkness until the cold was just too much to take. And broke you down, the thought of us racing through town. And I swore it would just last a season, but God knows that a winter's long gone. She's long gone. Whiskey and water, and girls without fathers. When she leaves tomorrow, a Hail Mary will make me feel sane. What happens, dear mother, the day I forget how to pray? How to pray. That next town's lights, they get to shining so bright that I find myself here at home. And I'm sorry. Whiskey and